Hello guys, welcome to TurboTough. Here we are in another iRacing video, episode 16, and my first two-part episode, because as I told to my friends whenever they return to their axes, we always like to return to the places we were once miserable. And on that note, I just returned to mine, Long Beach. I love this circuit, it's my guilty pleasure, but I also suck at this circuit. It has to be said. But I thought, hey, aside from practicing with AI, which yields pretty good results as you've noticed in my channel, we have to do something different this time to prepare for our weekly IMSA race. Introduce our new machine, the Dallara IR18, otherwise known as the Indycar. A 700, I think, brake horsepower machine. Here we are receiving our new tires. I was practicing my pit stop, although I was just participating in the fixed series. In the fixed series, you're just racing with alternate tires, a fixed setup, so a bit more equal ground for everyone. And my job was to just stay alive and learn the track. Why? Because logically, if I'm able to keep up with this 700 horsepower monster, which has little to no control, you have to go in first or second gear to most places here. If I'm able to survive in this, I shouldn't have problem driving in the M4. Yes, they are very different cars, no doubt about that. And actually, this is far more similar to a GTP than a GTD, which is what I'm driving. Nevertheless, I thought that if I did a couple of AI races with this car, did a lot of practice, and signed up for an online race at Long Beach, I would be able to improve my consistency at the track, learn the brake markers, learn where I can put the car and where I shouldn't, and acquire a much polished viewpoint of what Long Beach entails. So here we go with our first race. The start is going to be tight. I get on throttle a bit late. The car in front is able to jump me, said Blevins. We had a pretty good race with him, as you'll see soon. Turn 1, go down to the inside, try to cover it. Not really try to dive bomb anyone, although I'm able to go to his inside. Fight through the fountain. Here I receive a little contact from the car behind. I thought it was in the suspension because it was hard to keep the car on track. After that, he's able to go through. I don't have many possibilities of fighting. And then he goes into the wall, probably some suspension damage, and cars all over the place. We already realized that there's not many places in Long Beach where you can safely make a mistake and come out alive. It was a fairly good first lap. We won a position at the end, so that wasn't too bad. Here's the contact. Luckily, it was right on the side pod, so that didn't entail any significant loss of downforce or grip. This track requires a lot of mechanical grip. Hence, the speed difference between drivers, if you're not that skilled, is much more noticeable. And that's another reason you usually get lapped. Luckily, this didn't happen to me during this race, but it's a possibility that I have to be open to during the IMSA race, which will be on the next video, on part 2 of episode 16. Here we have the push to pass. That was something pretty new to me. Like, I was astounded at how big of a difference the push to pass makes when racing and at Indycar, which is a car I truly enjoy. Once you get the hang of it, once you're able to understand what the car accepts and what it simply rejects and sends you into a wall, it's a very good car to drive. And it teaches you a lot of things. It teaches you throttle control. It's very easy to lock up in these cars, especially your right front tires through most of the right-handers, because as they're unloaded and you're putting a lot of pressure into the left side when turning right, the tire simply locks up, and that's what you actually want to avoid, because if it stays too locked up, first you'll get a lot of tire wear, and second you'll probably end up in a wall sooner or later. This last session always gave me trouble. I didn't know if I should put the left tires on the curbs, like the little sausage curbs, which is possible, it's doable, it wouldn't cause any damage. But it's something I should be aware of because that would increase my tire wear, and that's something we want to avoid. Here I try to pick my way up the inside of Seth. No luck, no luck. I know you can cut that corner a lot more, but it will definitely give you some trouble for the rest of the sector. Just as you see here, I went a bit wide, and I have a bit of a bumpy exit. The hairpin is a corner I haven't been able to figure out yet. And here, as you'll see, this is a much more traditional line through the last sector of Long Beach. This is where Formula D races, the drift competition, which is pretty fun. The car is a bit more stable this time around, but I get a bit of oversteer on exit. That's something that happens. It's normal to see a car just standing on the inside, and then you go for the overtake, and then you have a traffic jam where nobody can go any place. And we have the push to pass, and Seth goes wide. He didn't hit the wall, which was pretty surprising. As I mentioned before, there is not much room for errors at Long Beach, at any street circuit, as a matter of fact. And actually, one of the reasons I decided to do 2 parts instead of 1 is because there isn't much direct action at street circuits. That's why many people say that Monaco should be removed from the F1 schedule, and maybe Long Beach should be removed from the Indycar schedule. I see their point. There are tracks that produce much more action-packed racing compared to street circuits. Nonetheless, I am a huge deterrent of that idea, because street circuits are supposed to be place of glamour, where you see these 500 plus race cars race alongside in the streets. You pretty much commute every day, and that's something that should be much more appreciated by the people who criticize street racing, street circuit racing. And they also require a lot of skill as a driver. The bumps, man. It feels like I'm driving in my city, which it has a lot of bumps and potholes all over the place, sadly. Turn 1 is also a tricky corner. Every corner here is tricky. I mean, you have to get right beside the wall, put the car in places maybe you shouldn't, and expose yourself to possible damage. That's also part of the competition, how fast you can go without avoiding any significant contact, which will entail a loss of pace on your behalf. And I'm going to leave you with the last lap and a half. It was a very entertaining race. 13 laps, a bit too short, but that's okay because we were on alternate tires, and these tires have a lot of grip but not much durability in terms of tire wear. There are actually the softer tires between the alternate and primary compounds. I just watched the real life Long Beach Grand Prix. It was pretty fun. Kyle Kirkwood, he's a master at this track. He already won in 2023, and he won this year again with Andretti. Pretty good driver, in my opinion. He's going to go far in that series, no doubt. The Fountain turn is so iconic, so enjoyable. And curves are another part that will definitely give you trouble because you have to go over them, you have to use them if you want to go fast. But if you abuse them too much, you'll not only kill your tires, but you also make the car a lot more unstable. I remember P3 bended that right-hander, which is very tricky because it's downhill and you have to modulate your brakes a lot. And I thought I was going to be able to get him, but that didn't pan out at the end, which is okay. We got a top 5. I haven't driven this car in probably more than a year and a half, and it's definitely not my strong suit. It's not something I'm specialized in. Throws beer can out of the window, that's what I did. I went and drank a Stella right after this race. Pretty well deserved, in my opinion, and I think you should think the same. I was so happy with this result that I went ahead and did some burnouts, and it didn't crash the car, which shows actually much more comfortable than it seems in an IndyCar. I'm definitely racing this thing again later on this season at Indy. Not my stronger track at all, but we'll have fun. Hit reverse, nobody saw that. Good race. I told him good race. It was an amazing race. I felt pressure at all times. But it was good training for the IMSA race, which is my main focus throughout the season. That and the Porsche Cup race, but Porsche Cup at Virginia went pretty horribly. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for part 2, where we're going to race at this same street track, but rather with our trustworthy and traditional BMW M4. I practiced with AI, which once again was very beneficial for preparing me mentally to what type of moves and tricks I was going to need to prepare for, to avoid. And yeah, Long Beach, pretty unpredictable circuit. I am now far more prepared to handle it. And I hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one. Leave a like, subscribe, and bye bye.